What is your name, please?
My name is Babatunde Olatunji.
What is your name, please?
My name is Babatunde Olatunji.
What is your name, please?
My name is Babatunde Olatunji.
Two of these people are imposters. Only one is the real Babatunde Olatunji, and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. Now, here is our host, Bud Collyer.
Thank you very much. Good evening, and welcome once again to Tell the Truth, brought to you this week by Arid Whirlin, the new roll-on deodorant with Perstop. Arid Whirlin ends your perspiration problems. Now, may I introduce our panel. What is your name, please?
My name is Polly Bergen.
My name is Conrad Nagel.
My name is Kitty Carlisle.
And my name is Hy Gardner.
Conrad, a warm, warm welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Let's not bring that in. Sure nice to have you with us.
Nice to be
If you
here.
watch our show, you notice that we always have a lot of fun, so I'm sure you will, too.
I hope so.
Now, these three gentlemen, as you heard, all claim to be Babatunde Olatunji. Only one is the real Babatunde Olatunji. The other two have merely assumed his identity, and they are the ones who do not have to stick to the truth. Panel, will you please follow along with your copies of this first affidavit as I read it? I, Babatunde Olatunji, was born and raised in Nigeria, West Africa. 8 years ago, I won a scholarship and came to the United States to study. While in college, I was president of the student body and a member of the varsity track team. I am presently working for my Doctor of Philosophy degree at New York University. To help pay for my studies, I work as a musician, specializing in African drums. Currently, I am appearing on the stage of the Radio City Music Hall in New York as featured soloist with the Music Hall Symphony Orchestra. Signed, Babatunde Olatunji. Panel, as you heard them say, these three gentlemen all claim to be Babatunde Olatunji, African drummer. Only the real Babatunde Olatunji is required to answer your questions truthfully. As usual, with each question until you hear this signal. At the end of the questioning period, you will be asked to register your vote for the one who, in your opinion, is the real Babatunde Olatunji. And we'll begin tonight's questioning with Kitty Carlisle. Kitty?
Thank you, Bud. Number one, what is Swahili?
Swahili is in South Africa.
Number two, what is Swahili?
Swahili is a language in Africa, East Africa.
Number three, what is Watutsi?
It's the name of a tribe.
Number one, how do they pull the curtain up and down at the Radio City Music Hall?
Oh, it goes sometimes from the end.
Yes, but I mean, does a man pull it up and down as usual?
No, not as usual.
No. Number two, does a man pull the curtain up and down
It's
at the
by
Music Hall?
push button.
And number three, where is Kikuyi? What place do they live, the Kikuyi tribe?
I can't remember.
Do you know number two?
It's in East Africa.
Hy Gardner.
Number one, how do you spell your last name?
Olatunji.
Yeah, number two, how do you spell your last name?
Olatunji.
Number two, what has a man named Fred Lynch got to do with the music hall?
Lynch is a director, one of the men on the staff there. They work with me.
Mm-hmm. Number three, do you know who Fred Lynch is?
Fred Lynch. He works in the, I think, publicity department.
Polly Bergen.
Number one, does your name mean anything in particular?
It does.
What does it mean?
Posterity will survive the test of time.
What will survive the test of time?
Posterity.
Oh, posterity. Number two, do you agree with number one?
Yes.
Number three?
No.
You don't. What do you think it means?
I think it means honor and worth is being revived in the family.
What did he say?
Honor and worth
honor
has been
and
revived
worth
in the
is
family.
being revived in the family.
That's very lovely.
Number 2, where did you attend college?
Howard University, Washington, D.C.
Number 3, where is the stage entrance of the Radio City Music Hall? Number 3.
Stage entrance?
Yes. The entrance from the street. How do you get into the theater?
Yeah, wait any longer on
50th
that.
Street.
I'm sorry, 50th Street was his answer. Conrad?
Number 3 says here on this card of yours, which doesn't help us very much, that you won a scholarship. What was the name of that scholarship, number 3?
The name of the which scholarship?
Of what?
Of which scholarship?
Which
Of the
scholarship?
scholarship that it says here, says you won a scholarship and came to the United States to study. What was the name of that scholarship?
Rotary.
Road scholarship?
Rotary.
What?
Rotary scholarship.
Rotary. Number 1, what was the name of the scholarship?
Rotary Education Foundation.
Number 2, what was the name of the scholarship?
Rotary Educational Foundation Scholarship.
Kitty Carlisle.
Oh, well, I would like to ask some more questions.
Oh, that's right. It's not you at all. See, I have a set of signals here. When I get just one, it means go to the next one. I get a flashing light. That means that's the end of it. And
I
here we
got
are.
plenty more to
They
ask.
changed their mind, decided to flash later, so that's it. Okay, time to vote, pal. I'm sorry. Not my fault. Out of my hands. Time to vote without consultation, if you will, please, and select thereby number 1, number 2, or number 3. And remember, please, that the team of challengers will get $250 for every incorrect vote. Okay, we all set, panel? Polly, for whom did you vote?
Well, I voted for number 3. I kept trying to see their hands, their fingers, to see if there were any calluses or anything, but number 2 and number 3 kept their hands hidden, so I couldn't see them.
Maybe they're ashamed of their calluses.
Possibly. But number 3 had, I don't know, he had a very sort of a quiet dignity, and he was rather reticent when he spoke, which the honest person usually is. They don't come out with answers too quickly.
Okay, Conrad, what about your vote?
Well, Bud, I voted for number 2 because he gave such direct and quick answers on the questions concerning the music hall.
Kitty?
Well, I voted for number 2 because the curtain is pulled up and down at the music hall by electricity. It's too heavy to lift. And also, he knew that Swahili was a language and not a tribe. And I think he knew where the Kikuyu live. I think they live in Kenya.
I think they moved.
Oh, no.
Hi, Gardner.
Well, I voted for 3, Bud, because he identified Fred Lynch correctly. And secondly, Polly said the same thing practically, and that is that if he hesitated with his answers, and if you lie, you don't have to think.
Oh? All right. There are some reasons I said it. Just as soon as we think we've heard them all, we hear new ones from our own panel. And that's the way the votes tally at the moment. We're going to find out right now how right or wrong they are, of course, as we discover which one of these 3 gentlemen is the real African drummer. So I'm going to ask you 3 gentlemen, if you will, to please go back up on this platform just above my head where you first made your appearance and take your places up there as you did before when you first came out.
No wonder they didn't have calluses. It's not a drum.
Different kind of a drum means no calluses.
I thought it was a bongo.
Now, will the real Babatunde Olatunji please show us how he plays his native African drum? Thank you very much, Babatunde. Now, may I ask the other gentleman, number 1, would you tell us who you really are and what you do, please?
My name is Joseph Bonsu Anane, a staff member of the United Nations. I've never been to Nigeria in my life.
And number 2, what about you?
My name is Kofi Odako, resident at Washington, D.C., working for the embassy of my country, Ghana.
Well, it was a good game, and number 1 has certainly enjoyed himself. You had a good time there, didn't you, huh? I think you all did, as a matter of fact. And good liars and good truth tellers, too. And we find there were 2 incorrect votes at $250 each for a total of $500, gentlemen, from Arid Whirlin. On your way out, will you stop and pick up a gift package of Carter's fine products? Good night. Best of good luck to you all. Thank you. To go to our next round, Kitty, I checked on the cooey, ooey, and their number has been changed. Will you please try the new number? And now let's have our next team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Mildred Savage.
What is your name, please?
My name is Mildred Savage.
What is your name, please?
My name is Mildred Savage.
All right, panel, will you follow along with your copies of this second affidavit? I, Mildred Savage, am a brand new novelist. This novel, my first, is called Parish and deals with tobacco farming in Connecticut. Since I am busily engaged in running a house and bringing up 2 children, the book took me 5 years to complete. It will be published by Simon & Schuster next week. Parish was submitted to the publisher on a Friday and accepted on Monday. The Literary Guild then selected my book as its November selection, which means a sale of about 250,000 copies. Parish has already been bought for motion pictures for the highest price ever paid for a first novel prior to publication. From this sale of movie rights, I can realize as much as $250,000. Signed, Mildred Savage. Panel, you heard these ladies claim to be Mildred Savage, who has just written her very first novel. So let's start this cross-examination with Polly Bergen. Polly?
I tried to check to see if I could see calluses from writing for 5 years, but I couldn't see any of it.
You're in a callus case.
Yes. Number one, it says that your novel is about tobacco farming in Connecticut. What kind of tobacco? What are they?
This is tobacco grown for cigars.
For cigars?
Yes.
Number two, they do a special thing to tobacco fields in Connecticut. Do you know what that is?
Yes. They cover it with cloths, and it's called shade tobacco.
I see. Number three, what motion picture studio bought your book?
Warner Brothers.
Have they decided who's going to direct the book for you, the picture?
No, the producer is going to be Joshua Logan, I think.
I see.
Conrad Nagel.
Number three, if you're the real Mildred Savage and can realize $250,000 from the sale of your book, you've certainly figured out what the income tax is going to be. Could you tell me what you would net on the sale of that book?
No, I can't. 10% is for my agent, of course, and 10% for the publisher, but I'm not sure. I haven't figured out. I don't know how much I will exactly realize from Warner Brothers.
Number one, could you answer that?
No, I haven't figured it out.
What the net might be?
No.
Number two, could you give me any
Not
idea?
in exact figures, no.
Number three, if you sold the book to Warner Brothers, could you tell me who negotiated the deal?
Yes, that was Ned Brown.
It was who?
Ned Brown.
Thank you.
Kitty Carlisle.
Number one, you're bringing up 2 children. Can you tell me how you make them leave you alone for 10 minutes, much less for long enough to write a whole book?
Well, they go to school.
Where?
Where we live, in Norwich, Connecticut.
How long? Oh, do you
Go to school in Ohio.
And do you write while they're going to school?
Yes, I do. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to start.
Oh. Number 2, what do they call the frames that they dry the tobacco on?
I don't know.
Number 3, do you know?
I think they're called laughs.
And number 1?
They're called laughs.
Number 2, who's your literary agent?
Oh, she doesn't hear the bell. Well,
Well, you gave me a chance last time. Who is it?
Literary agent, MCA.
okay, now, Highgarden.
Number one, how much did you have to pay your publisher as far as the movie itself is concerned? What proportion of it? What percentage?
Simon & Schuster got
Yes.
10%.
Of the movie rights. And how much
Yes.
did they get of the book itself if sold elsewhere?
Well, I don't
Reprint
know.
rights.
I don't know that because then I am on a percentage.
Uh-huh. Number 2, who is Arita Van Doren?
I don't know.
Number 1, would you know?
Yes, Irita Van Doren is connected with the book section of the Herald Tribune on
Number
Sunday.
3, would you know?
Yes, she's connected with the Herald Tribune book section.
Number 1,
That's it, panel. Sorry. Time to vote once again. And again, without consultation, will you mark your ballot? As usual, you will thereby be selecting number 1, number 2, or number 3. Polly is thinking. Polly is marking. Polly, for whom did you vote?
Well, I voted for number 3 because it was right last time. And I figure anybody who's had to write for 5 years would probably wear glasses. Or if they didn't, would need them by now.
Conrad.
Well, Bud, I voted for number 1. She has that intense look as though she'd been forcing herself to concentrate on writing on that typewriter while all the kids are running around playing and making noise.
Kitty?
I voted for number 1. I think she looks forceful enough to make 2 children leave her alone long enough to write that novel.
What about your vote, Hi?
Well, I voted for number 1. At first, I thought it was 3. I thought that she kept her money in that braid. Yeah, I voted for number 1 because she was right on percentages.
All right, there we have it. We've made up our minds. Have you? I trust you have. If you're playing along with us, as you all tell us you do, let's discover right now how right or wrong we and you may be as we learn which one of these 3 ladies has just written her very first novel. So will the real Mildred Savage please stand up? Thank you very much, and best of good luck with your next novel, too. Number 2, would you tell us who you really are and what you do, please?
Well, I'm Mrs. Evelyn Smith. I have 5 grandchildren, and I work at Bonwood Teller in Jenkintown, Pennsylvania.
Thank you. And now, number 3, what about you?
I am not a housewife. I'm a barge wife, Bud.
Well, I've heard of a housewife. What's a barge wife?
My husband is captain of a barge, and we live on a barge.
What is your name?
Helen Price.
Very nice to see you. And I'm glad that you all seem to have as much fun as you did. Checking over a few things here, we find on the scoring that there were 1, 2, 3 correct and only 1 incorrect vote. You did very well on that one, panel. That means, of course, that $250 per incorrect vote, a total of $250. But I do hope you had more than enough fun to compensate for not winning more than that. May I say good luck to you with your 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th novels. I'll be looking for them. And on your way out, ladies, will you stop, please, and you'll collect a gift package of Carter's fine products. Mrs. Savage has asked if she may donate her share of the winnings to the United Fund of Norwich, Connecticut, and this will be done. Thank you very much. Good night, and the best of good luck.
What is your name, please?
My name is Richard V. Heermans.
What is your name, please?
My name is Richard V. Heermans.
What is your name, please?
My name is Richard V. Heermans.
Panel, will you follow along again with your copies of this final affidavit for this evening? I, Richard V. Heermans, was born in New York City. I have 1 sister and 1 brother. Like my brother, I attended Williams College in Williamstown, Massachusetts, but unlike my brother, I did not follow in our father's footsteps and study law. Like my brother, I am married and have a family. I have 2 children, and my brother has 3. My brother, incidentally, is better known to all of you as Bud Collier, signed Richard V. Heermans. All right, panel, now as you heard, these 3 gentlemen all claim to be Richard V. Heermans, Bud Collier's brother, whoever he is. Hi, Dick.
Hi, Bud. Hi, Bud.
All right, let's start this round of questioning with Hi Gardner.
Well, number 1, by the way, how is your brother Bud, and what is he doing these days?
He's working regularly.
Number 2, Bud was out of town last week and part of this week on some interesting mission. Can you tell me what it was?
It was a trip that the government had him go on.
Uh-huh. Number 3, do you know anything more about the trip than that?
I'm not supposed to say any more than that.
Uh-huh. At one time, number 3, at one time, Bud was a champion boxer. When and where was that?
Well, he boxed his banjo, I think, an awful lot.
Uh-huh. Number 1, any other answer to that?
He did some in school, I know.
What school?
When he was at Williams.
Uh-huh. Number 2?
Holly Bergen.
Number 1, what is your sister's name?
June.
June. Number 2, do you agree? Is the name?
Yes, June.
I see. Number 3, if Bud's name is Collier, why did you change your name to Heermans?
Well, that's what I've been wondering about. They did it, not me.
Oh, I see. Number 2, Bud had a son who was on this program. Could you tell me his name?
Michael.
I see. Number 1, what is Bud's wife's name?
Marion,
And where do they live?
in Greenwich, Connecticut.
Conrad Nagel.
Number 2, could you tell me what is Bud's real first name?
Clayton.
Number 3, could you tell me what very exalted position he occupies at the present time as an officer or an executive?
Well, he's superintendent of Sunday school at the Presbyterian Church in Greenwich.
Well, that's a very exalted position. I had something else in mind. The top spot, shall we say. Could you tell me what that is?
Well, I think he's tops right now, and I don't know of anything
Kitty?
specific.
Number 1, how long has Bud known me? About.
Since the early 30s.
Thank you. Number
Kitty
2.
was only 5 at the time.
Number 2, what union is Bud president of?
AFTRA.
Number 3, who is June married to?
June is married to Stu Irwin.
Number 1, when did Bud get the Asian flu?
I beg your pardon?
When did Bud get the Asian flu?
I'll tell you about that later, because our time is up and we have to vote, panel. So once more, without consultation, will you mark your ballots for number 1?
Oh, dear, the best question I had to ask.
Number 2, or number 3?
Oh, dear. Oh, no, it's terrible.
All right, Polly, have you voted?
Wait a minute.
Oh, it's awful because one looks and the other one, I think, is...
You're getting a typical Polly vote now.
Well, number 1 looks like you, but I voted for number 3. Because he looks the least like you, and I figured that that's probably the reason why they got the idea of having him on, so it would fool everybody. And also he has a wonderful he had a warm, sort of brotherly way with you, which is sort of brotherly.
Okay, Conrad, your vote, please.
Well, Bud, I voted for number 3. None of us established the fact whether the Bud Collier was you or whether it was another Bud Collier. We're assuming that. But number 3, when I asked the question about the top position, the answer was so typical of you. He said the superintendent of the Sunday school rather than president of AFTRA. That sounds like the Collier family.
Okay, Kitty?
Well, I voted for number 2 because although number 3 didn't know you were president of AFTRA, number 1 knew we'd known each other a long, long time. But number 1 didn't know you had Asian flu when you were out visiting him, so I voted for number 2.
Maybe he caught it and doesn't want to remember it. What about your vote?
Well, I voted for number 2, despite what Kitty said. I just think he looks a little bit like you, or vice versa.
Okay, there we have it now, the rhymes and the reasons for the song that we're writing at the moment. Let's hope we're playing your song, too, if you're playing at home. And we'll find out right now which one of these 3 gentlemen is really, what was his name again? Bud Collier's brother. So will the real Richard V. Hermance. No, I'm going to do this another way, by golly, because I'll tell you something. Just before the show tonight, my brother and I made a bet. And he bet me that they would all vote one way or the other. I said no, it would be a split vote. So I have lost the vote, and I'll pay my debt.
Number 1.
Here's your money.
There's the brother who gave me the money back. Dickens, you may or may not know, I've told you about him in the past, is a producer and film editor out in Hollywood. As a matter of fact, he just finished associate producer and editor on The Man of the West. Isn't that it? Who's in, Dick?
Gary Cooper and Julie London.
Well, thanks for being with us tonight. I'll see you later. All right, now may I ask...
Number 1, please. Would you tell us who you really are and what you do?
My name is Bill Bryan, and I'm the Director of Public Relations for the United States Equestrian Team.
Number 3, what about you?
Well, my name is George F. Kamen. I'm a physician, and I do independent research in multiple sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's disease, and Parkinson's disease. And at present, I'm looking for a sponsor.
Well, there we have it. Hope you had fun.
Are you sure he's your brother? He doesn't
Oh,
look
yeah.
a thing like you.
Well, that's what people say all the time, but we still are, and we can prove it, can't we, Dick? Okay, we see on the score now that there were 2 correct and 2 incorrect. That's $250 each for the incorrect ones for a total of $500 from Arid Whirling. Gentlemen, thanks an awful lot. Good luck. On your way out, you will find a gift package of all of Carter's fine products. Dick, I'll see you later.
Good night, Bud.
And now this is Bud Collier saying good night from Arid Whirling and reminding you to tell the truth. Good night.
To Tell the Truth is the Mark Goodson Bill Todman production in association with the CBS